Hey guys, Thursday afternoon, just after lunch, I just got back from picking up the drive shaft. It turns out the one that they gave me originally wasn't even mine. It was somebody else's drive shaft. It just happened to be the exact same thing except an inch and a half shorter. So they hadn't even made mine yet. So no biggie there. My new one was ready, but it does not come with the transmission yoke. So I'm gonna have to put my own on. No biggie. I've got a few of them here, so we'll get that on. I'll just use the vise to install that. Um, and then I went to the post office. You know the one that doesn't deliver packages anymore. What the hell is that? Anyway, picked up the steering column. Really nice piece. A lot of bang for the buck on that one. Did well on that one. So I'll show you that. And then last night I got a couple of pieces on the engine. Put on the correct fuel pump or water pump, the one that just came in. Paint finally dried, so that's on. And I also put the fuel pump on and connected the fuel line to the pump. So I got a bunch of bits and pieces of the engine to clean up and paint. And I got to steal a bunch of fittings off the original intake to put on the new intake, for vacuum lines and all that kind of stuff. So I'm gonna do all that kind of thing, and also keep plugging away in the body work on the cab. And yeah, so that's where I'm at. I'm recording this before Christmas, but you're not going to see it till after Christmas. So I hope you had a good one. And for me, Christmas is not a whole lot different than every other day, other than I eat maybe 4 or 5 times my actual body weight in food. It just seems to never stop. You just keep shoveling it in. But anyway, yeah. So lots to get to, so I might as well just get right to it. Okay, so here we go. Fuel pump's in place with the braided line. Going back to the tank. The correct water pump is now on, so that's good. Last video I bolted my intake down. I was gonna bolt my carb down, but I don't have a gasket. Usually got a couple of them hanging on the wall, but I guess I used them. So it is what it is. Gonna have to pick up one of those. Here's my drive shaft. Let me just come around this way here. And yeah, brand new, looking good. He did a nice job painting and everything. I'm gonna paint it again because it's going red. And here's the transmission yoke that I've got to install. So basically it's pretty simple. Pop these 2 caps off and slide this in place, and then put your caps back on from the outside, put it in a vise and squeeze them in flush, and then you'll tap them in with a hammer a little bit, because if you see here, see that groove? It goes all the way around both sides. That's to accept these clips to hold everything in place. So you got to kind of, once they're flush from the vise, you can flip it over, tap it down the extra you need to get your clip in. Put the one clip in on one side, flip it over, tap it down again, put the other clip in, and you're done. So pretty simple, really. Not that big a deal. The only thing you got to be careful of is that when you pull those caps off, here's an old one. Those needles, see these little pins in here? Those are your needle bearings. They're basically held in position with grease. You just want to make sure that they stay in position. If you've got one laying at the bottom of the cup or something like that, when you go to squeeze the caps in, you'll mess up those bearings and then you're screwed. But yeah, so make sure those needle bearings stay in place. And then over here, here's our steering column. Sweet piece. All stainless steel. Comes, stock Chevy wiring harness, so that's good. Really nice. Also comes with the chrome levers for your tilt and your signal light, and the chrome knob for your 4-way flashers, and chrome steering wheel adapter. Really nice piece. So yeah, that's a pretty good bargain at $340, taxes and shipping in. So I'm pleased with that. And you'll see in the steering column, I've got a great story about steering columns. So maybe a little later in the video, we'll have story time. And then over here, the intake, I got to pull this fitting off. I need that for my heater hose. And really the only other good thing left on this is the distributor hold down clamp. So locks the distributor in place. I pulled off the old lines and stuff, and I'm going to use this chunk of braided line to make everything pretty on top once I get that carb bolted in. So yeah, that's where we're at in that, and just going to keep on moving along, man. Okay, so it's Friday morning. Last night they were calling for snowmageddon. The end of days, a storm of biblical proportions. It's still snowing a little bit, but yeah, we got 6 inches. No big deal. We get 6 inches all the time. Snowmageddon. What a pile of bullshit. I think they want something bad to happen, Anyway, we're going to go in the shop, and we'll go over a few things. Okay, so last night I got a bunch of little stuff done. I got my fuel line in, going from the fuel pump up to the carb. Finally dug out a filter, and but I can't mount that until I get a gasket for the carb. Painted up a bunch of little pieces, the pulleys, harmonic balancer, that tranny transmission dust cover, alternator bracket, all those kinds of things. Because this weekend I'm not going to get a whole lot done. Saturday's Christmas Eve, turkey and all that stuff, and then Christmas Day, another shot day, but whatever. Probably due for a bit of a break anyway. The one main thing that I do want to get done, though, today is the drive shaft. Get that transmission yoke on there, and maybe get a coat or two of paint on it. And yeah, but before I get to that, I do have time maybe for story time. So yeah, let's do story time. Hello, boys and girls. Welcome to story time. Today's story is called "The Free Steering Column That Wasn't." So when I was a kid, around 12, 13, 14, right up till I got my driver's license. 2 or 3 days a week, my dad would grab me and we'd head off to the wrecking yard to scrounge parts up for whatever hot rod he was building at the time. And my job was to get little stuff like bulbs and switches and fuses and stuff like that. And I'd keep an eye out for something that was, say on the engine, aluminum valve covers or stuff like that. And the old man always had his little list of some of the bigger stuff that he was looking for. And at that time, you got to remember, this is around 1974, I would say. He was looking for a tilt steering column, and back then, tilt columns were pretty rare. They were in cars that were on the road, but not old cars in a wrecking yard. So you didn't see a lot of them around. The aftermarket people hadn't really gotten onto the tilt column thing yet. So looking around for a tilt steering column, he'd been looking for a while. So anyway, this one Saturday we pull into the wrecking yard, the parking lot there, and there was a new arrival. It looked like I think it was a Buick. I can't remember exactly, but I think it was a Buick. And it was rusty and a bunch of dents in it, been hit 4 or 5 times. So we get out, and the old man looks in the window, and sure enough, it's a tilt column. It had a floor shift, so it didn't have the ugly column shifter. Exactly what the old man was looking for. He jumps in the car, he opens up the door, gets in the car, and the key's even in it. Perfect. Don't even have to change out the ignition switch. So he says, go get the tools, boy. So I go grab the bag and tools, and he snips the wiring harness just below the connector. He wanted to keep both parts of that, and unbolted it and everything. Pull the column out, he hands it to me, he says, throw that in the back of the truck. So I did. And I think that's what I was there for mostly, was to lift and carry stuff. But anyway, So we go into the yard and we dick around there for a while and pick up a bunch of parts and little pieces and stuff. He goes into the office. He pays for the stuff he's got. I think he grabbed a starter and an alternator and a couple other things. And, you know, throw everything in the truck and we're heading home. And the old man starts to chuckle about halfway home. He goes, you know, I forgot to tell him about the steering column. It looks like we got a free one, boy. And he's chuckling away. We're both kind of, you know, laughing it up a little bit. So we get home, and not 10 minutes later, the phone rings. It's the wrecking yard. And, you know, the conversation went something like this, you know. My dad's name is Al, by the way. And, you know, hey, Al, did you pull a steering column out of a Buick in the yard? You know, and says, oh, Jesus, yeah, I forgot. You know, he knew he was busted. So he just, you know, said, yeah, I forgot to tell you. I was going to call you anyway. What do I owe you for it? I says, that's not the problem, Al. He says, the car wasn't there for scrap. It was a customer's car. He jumped in his car to go home and his column was gone. He's fucking pissed. The old man, he couldn't help but laugh, but you know, what do you do? So anyway, they ended up buying the car off the guy for like a couple $100, $300 or something, and gave him a ride home. And the old man had to pay 30 or 40 bucks for the column. But you know, I just love to have seen the guy's face when he jumped into his car and he's got nothing. That column's still running around in a Model A here in town. But yeah, so that's story time. So I'll be back on that drive shaft in a bit. Okay, so I put a little wire brush wheel on my drill, and this did a really nice job of cleaning out, you know, where the clips go, the little groove and everything, and it's all cleaned up and nice. So I'm going to set up the camera over at the vise and see if we can get this drive shaft put together and in the truck. Okay, so first thing to do, pull these caps off, making sure all the needle bearings, all the little needle bearings stay in place. There we go. Time to grease this thing up. A little bit more. Don't drop it. Okay, now that one's in. Make sure it's in there center, and good. Oh, damn it. Man, I tell you, need a bunch of hands here. damn it. You got to be right on the money, man. I don't feel comfortable with this. I'm going to check it out. Come right back. I think I might have knocked the bearing out. Okay, no, we're okay. Okay, now they're in flush. Now, got flat, got a socket, proper size. Almost there. Okay, you can see the groove. I hate these things. Not in there yet. Come on. Not in there all the way, but enough of this. So, okay, I think that might have got her. Okay, I'll just finagle those things right in there, make sure I'm in good. And that's it, then we'll throw her in the truck. Okay, so it's in. You can see I've got enough play right there for suspension travel. And yeah, fits perfect. To get those clips to go all the way in, I just took that socket and give it a little tap at the top of the clip, and you can hear it click right in, both sides. So clips are in, it's done, it's ready for a little paint. And yeah, I'm pretty much going to pack it in now and, you know, start my 2-day or 3-day eating binge. So there you go, guys. You know, the last video I put on my Christmas wish list of getting to 1,000 subscribers, and man, you guys rock. I had it by 9:30 that night, so 2 days ahead of Christmas. Oh, actually 3 days. So that's awesome. Thank you so much. I truly do appreciate it, and yeah, made my Christmas. Right on. Thank you. And you know, I got this video done a little early, and that's a good thing. So I might put it out a day early. So when you see this, you know, Christmas is already passed, and hope you had a good one. And New Year's is coming up. So yeah, so I might put this out Wednesday morning, and that way I can get one out on New Year's Day. So if you're too hungover, and you know, just sitting in front of the computer checking out YouTube shit, you know, my video will be there. And yeah, so that's where we're at, and hopefully everything goes well for you, and you know, have a good New Year, good New Year's Eve, party on. But if you don't get too messed up, you know, you can always New Year's Day and you're not hungover, get out in the garage and build something, man. Later, guys. Happy New Year.